The time is 6 o'clock on Oluyole 98.5 FM, Ibadan. The news. Good evening. This is Idowu Shekoni, and reading with me is
Josephine Oluyole. Good evening.
We're bringing you Newscope, our daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews, and commentaries. First, the highlights. Defense Minister warns states against peace deals with bandits.
Court exonerates DSS over death of detained ISWAP suspect.
Rivers Assembly urged Chief Judge to begin impeachment probe against Fubara deputy.
And on the foreign scene, President Trump threatens to invoke Insurrection Act over Minnesota protests.
Now the news in full. The Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, has warned state governments to steer clear of any proposed peace deal with bandits. Musa issued this warning in an interview with the press, saying the federal government has consistently advised all levels of government against negotiating with armed groups, describing such arrangements as dangerous, counterproductive, and a threat to national security. The minister stressed that bandits cannot be trusted to honor any agreement. According to him, negotiations only embolden criminal networks, weaken military operations, and prolong insecurity. Musa called on governors to align with federal security strategy, stating that sustained military pressure, intelligence-led operations, and community cooperation remain the only viable path to restoring peace. The minister's warning followed growing public outrage over reports of state-level peace initiatives that planned releases of suspected bandits, moves critics say undermine justice and demoralize security forces.
The Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, has called for deeper synergy between the Ministries of Defense and Interior, saying Nigeria's internal security challenges can only be effectively tackled through seamless collaboration and shared responsibility. Musa made the call on Friday in Abuja during a courtesy visit to the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubumi Ojo, where both ministers pledged to strengthen interministerial cooperation to address evolving security threats. He described the two ministries as two sides of the same national security coin, noting that the distinction between internal and external security had become increasingly blurred by asymmetric threats such as terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and cross-border crimes. The defense minister emphasized the importance of stronger intelligence collaboration, proposing the strengthening of a joint intelligence fusion framework between the Defense Intelligence Agency and interior agencies such as the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), and the Nigerian Correctional Service. In his response, Tunji Ojo agreed that weak internal security architecture inevitably overstretched the military, noting that effective internal security agencies would enable the armed forces to focus on their core defense mandate.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has exonerated the Department of State Services (DSS) over the alleged detention and killing of an Islamic State West Africa province ISWAP terror suspect Yusuf Lukman Omeiza. Justice Musa Liman in the judgment held that the plaintiffs failed to prove their claim that the suspect was killed by the defendants. The plaintiffs, Alhaji Jimoh Yusuf and Mrs. Faiti Muhammad, had dragged the DSS to the court alongside the Attorney General of the Federation (AGF) over the alleged arrest, detention and killing of Mr. Omeiza, who was identified as the leader of ISWAP in Kogi. Mr. Omeiza, also known as Magas, was arrested by the DSS on October 1, 2015 in Okene, Kogi over alleged terrorism-related offenses that include bank attacks and robberies in the area. Delivering the judgment on Thursday, Justice Lehman ruled that the plaintiffs couldn't prove their claim that the suspect was killed by the defendants. It would be recalled that Umeza was arrested over his alleged involvement in terrorism-related activities that include the robbery attack at First Bank PLC, Okene.
Concerns have been raised that negotiating with terrorists could undermine justice and security, as such groups may never be fully repentant due to deeply rooted ideological beliefs. A stakeholder, Professor Nelson Fashino, who is the Deputy Commandant General of the Nigerian Forest Security Service, urged government to identify the sponsors of terrorism, understand their interests, and address the root causes of insecurity. He made these remarks while speaking on BCOS Television Current Affairs Breakfast Program, AM 120. Our reporter, Olamide Olabi, monitored the program and reports.
State government recently announced plans to release 70 suspected terrorists and set aside 300 naira as part of peace deal negotiations. Reacting to the developments on the AM 120, the Deputy Commandant General of the Nigerian Forest Security Service, Professor Nelson Fashino, described the move as an indication of weaknesses within the Nigeria's justice system. According to him, Nigeria's criminal laws make it difficult to effectively prosecute terrorism-related offenses, unlike crimes such as armed robbery. He stressed that bandits are human beings, not spirits, adding that whatever enables their access to weapons must be identified and decisively cut off.
The reality is that our law, our law and our justice system is very much weak and lax. That's it. So you just have to negotiate with them because they are claimed bandits, they are self-acclaimed bandits, and they are doing it as a kind of, carrying the cudgel against the state that they have a demand. For example, if the justice system does not allow it, such a thing would not be negotiated. That 300 million will be given to bandits, and then you free them. You free them. Once you free them, definitely, because there is no, you are not making them to swear by Ogun. You are not making them to swear by Shogu. You are not making them to swear by anything, such that they will be terrified not to go back. They still have their arms. They still have everything, and this is the means of their livelihood. That's the means of their sustenance. They can never be, wholly repentant because they have an ideology.
Professor Fashino further explained that the public often lacks full understanding of government operations, noting that vested interest within governance sometimes hinder decisive action. He added that government authority is not as absolute as many people assume. He also revealed that there have been recent developments in the administration and coordination of forest security across the country.
Most of the bandits and terrorists that you have are driven by religious ideology. There are certain things within the cabal of governance, which is across the nation, that will not allow them to speak out. So when you are talking about government, therefore, government is less powerful than the people. The terrorist and banditry war in Nigeria is not a physical war like that. It's not a normal war theater. It's not. It's guerrilla. And so it's difficult for a military that is trained for normal warfare to handle guerrilla insurrection. Okay.
Professor Fashino concluded that tackling insecurity cannot be left to governments alone, emphasizing the need for collective responsibility and community participation in addressing the challenge. Olamide Olabi, Business News.
Rivers State House of Assembly on Friday called on the Chief Judge of the state to set up a panel to investigate the allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu. The Assembly members who made the call through a unanimous vote vowed to continue with the impeachment process. The lawmakers had earlier addressed a live press conference in Port Harcourt where they accused Fubara of allegedly using blackmail. Addressing journalists, the Deputy Speaker, Dumle Mill, said Fubara lacked the trust needed to address the crisis rocking the oil-rich state. They accused the governor of infringing on the 1999 constitution, saying the parliament was left with no other choice but to apply their legislative power by impeaching him from office. The members also called on the Speaker, Martin Ameole, to reconvene the House.
The Nigerian Employers Consultative Association and the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund have intensified efforts to improve workplace safety standards across the country, warning that negligence, poor awareness, and a weak safety culture continue to expose Nigerian workers to preventable injuries and deaths. The renewed push was highlighted on Friday in Abuja at a press conference ahead of the NSITF NECA Safe Workplace Intervention Project 2025 Interactive Enlightenment Forums and Award Ceremonies. SWEEP is a collaborative occupational health and safety initiative designed to enhance workplace safety across Nigeria. The project involves auditing corporate workplaces and safety policies, infrastructure, emergency preparedness, and overall compliance with national and international best practices. Speaking at the event, NECA Director General Adewale Smarts Oyonide emphasized that workplace safety is a life and death issue often treated with dangerous nonchalance by both employers and employees.
The Joint Health Sector Unions, JOHESO, at the University College Hospital, UCH, Ibadan, on Friday staged a protest against the federal government's No Work, No Pay directive following the ongoing nationwide strike embarked upon by the union. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi was at the University College Hospital, UCH, Ibadan, and now reports.
That was the situation at the University College Hospital, UCH, Ibadan, as health workers under the umbrella of the Joint Health Sector Unions, JOHESO, picketed the institution in protest. Some of the placards displayed by the protesters bore inscriptions such as 14 years of stagnation is a sign of inequality, no peace without justice, and no Con-Air's adjustment, no resumption, among others. Speaking with newsmen on the sidelines of the protest, the National Vice President, Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, Southwest Zone, Comrade Sunday Adetula, disclosed that several efforts made to avert the ongoing nationwide strike were frustrated by the federal government. He explained that one of the major issues that necessitated the strike is the federal government's failure to address the disparity between the salary structure of medical doctors and that of other health workers in federal health institutions. Comrade Adetula emphasized that the continued practice of giving preferential treatment to one category of health workers over others, all operating under the same Federal Ministry of Health, will no longer be tolerated.
No coins adjustment, no resumption of this strike. They have been deceiving us. Many MOU have been signed without the federal government has refused to fulfill their own part. And we have been fulfilling our own part, but the federal government has not fulfilled their own part. And we are appealing to Nigerians to help us to appeal to the federal government to fulfill their own part of the agreement signed with JOHESO. And we are saying this to the masses. We are so sorry that we got ourselves to this stage. It is not our fault. If federal government is having 100 children in the sector, feeding 15 children, living 85, and they are saying that the 85 should not cry, we are going to cry. And this is the cry.
Also speaking, The chairman, Joint Health Sector Unions, JUESU, UCH Ibadan chapter, Comrade Olabampe, lamented that while the salary structure for medical doctors, known as COMES, has been reviewed twice since the disparity was created, the salary scale for other health workers, CONS, remains unadjusted. He called on the federal government to rescind its no work no pay order, stressing that members of JUESU cannot continue to work under threats and intimidation.
The hospital is not functioning. Nobody to work. The physicians that come to work cannot do it all alone. All they have been doing is to see patients, refer them to outside facilities, and go there and meet them. That is what they've been doing, because it's a teamwork. A tree does not make a forest, and that is why the hospital has turned to a ghost city now. The government has to respond. No work, no pay will not affect us. We stand resolute. Among other demands, JUESU is calling on the federal government to accord due recognition to health professionals under its umbrella by appointing them into coordinating positions in the interest of balance, collaboration, efficiency, and overall development, rather than limiting such appointments to medical doctors alone. It will be recalled that since November 15, 2025, when the current nationwide strike commenced, many federal government-owned health facilities have remained largely inactive, as patients can only access the services of medical doctors while seeking other essential health services elsewhere. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
Upon reaching the age of 60, Kunle Junaid stepped down from his position as coordinating director at the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. The chairman of BCOS, Mrs. Dotun Olaita, president of CCII, Chief Ajeni Yajewole, the commissioner for culture and tourism in Oyo State, Dr. Wasiu Olatubosun, Balogun Gafaru Ojetola, and numerous others have showered encomiums on Kunle Junaid for adding value to the corporation. BCOS reporter Olamiko Sishola was at the BCOS Rotawu Hall venue of the event.
35 years of dedicated service, the iconic Kunle Junaid has hung up his boots, and the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State will greatly miss him. A sent-forth party was thrown in his honor, and it was a star-studded affair.